Good Lord. I just put peppermint essential oil in my diffuser and then I rubbed my eye. That's going to be a problem, but hey, you know what? The show must go on. Hello, welcome back to the JW Thoughts channel. My name is Wally, and today we are taking another look at the annual meeting. Last time we caught on to some interesting reactions when it came to how people were clapping, and I said in that video that I would go through the rest of the annual meeting and see if there were any other edits that happened. And the other edit that I found is a question surrounded in a mystery, shrouded by an enigma, and I might just have a new conspiracy theory to throw out there. So let's talk about it. So in my coverage of the original annual meeting, there was a section where there's an awkward pause, laugh, surrounded by clapping, and a weird video that was put on screen, and I couldn't really get my head around it. Take a watch. Take a listen. Have a watch. Just, you're already watching. Do the thing you're already doing and continue doing it for another 30 seconds.
That verse says, "The little one will become 1,000, and the small one a mighty nation. I myself, Jehovah, will speed it up in its own time." Like passengers in a car that is increasing in speed. Do you sense the momentum of what Jehovah's organization is doing today?
Now, at the time of originally watching that, I was left pretty confused by the whole situation. I couldn't really get my head around it. Listen to what this idiot from 2 months ago has to say. I have watched this 10 times now, and I can't figure it out. Why is there this long pause, and then they laugh, and then a little bit more pause, and then they realize they're supposed to be clapping? What is this little audience speaker interchange that we have just witnessed? At first I thought, are they having like applause signs? So it was like, okay, laugh, applause, and someone's over there pressing the button. And someone at Bethel was just trolling this guy, Jeff Windbag, and he's like, hey, how funny would it be if they laughed when instead I was supposed to press applause? Is that what's going on here? You have this awkward little video that they just pop up on screen here of this car just driving. It was something happening on the screen, and that's why they just showed this, and that's why they were laughing? I can't figure it out. Let me know down below in the comments if you have any suspicions or hypotheses about what the heck is going on here. Now, upon watching what was released officially to the public, and to be completely honest with you, I was shocked by how little was edited. I watched them side by side, frame by frame, got the everything synced perfectly, and these were the only two. The clapping that we saw before, where they didn't want to show Garrett Loesch's reaction to having made the announcement and the audience going wild, and then this one.
That verse says, "The little one will become 1,000, and the small one a mighty nation. I myself, Jehovah, will speed it up in its own time." Like passengers in a car that is increasing in speed. Do you sense the momentum of what Jehovah's organization is doing today? Do you sense the momentum of what Jehovah's organization is doing today? The momentum of what Jehovah's organization is doing today? Do you sense the momentum of what Jehovah's organization is doing today?
Now this is getting even crazier, because originally when I watched this, it didn't make a lot of sense as to why they were having this interaction. I thought back then, oh, maybe it's the applause and laugh button. What the heck is going on here? I couldn't even get my head around it. And so I decided to look at it again because I'm like, there has to be some type of logical explanation to this. So the first thing I thought was, well, they use those little automatic microphones. So I went back and I looked at when he originally went up to the stage and the two little people take Garrett Loesch's, little people, I don't know how tall they are. The two guys come and take Garrett Loesch's gold mirror away, and the mic does adjust for him. So he wasn't talking about the microphone. I don't know why there was this weird pause. Then the audience laughs for a second and then starts clapping. I still cannot get my head around it. But the strange thing is of all of the things that they decided to make cuts on, it's these two. There were no other edits that I could find when I watched this. There was one time when I was a little distracted. I thought I had to let out a little bit of a toot, and then I became unsure if it was just going to be a toot, and so then my brain and my bowels were going back and forth about what to do about the situation. So I was a little distracted then, but I'm fairly confident that these are the only two edits to this section of the annual meeting, and I can't wrap my noodle around what was necessary about editing this little tiny laugh that the audience gave. What was it? Now, we're going to have to put on our tinfoil hats here for a second. But the first time I was really highlighting Garrett Loesch's reaction in my original coverage of that. And then I was also highlighting this weird interchangeless interaction. And those are the two things that got edited out? Could it be that there is an editor inside Bethel trying to send us a message? And I thought, Wally, you're smoking the crack pipe. There is no way. You need to go to bed. You've been spending too much time around these bright lights. But then, as I was watching, I saw something else that got me curious.
To a normal life in this system. I think the contrast for me was the joy of being a fellow worker with Jehovah in the preaching work and just to feel that close friendship with him.
Exhibit number 3 of this conspiracy. I have the exact same pair of glasses. The exact same Burberry frames that this guy has in this video. They are exactly same glasses that he was wearing in that video. There are, I reckon, millions of pairs of glasses. And there are 9 million Jehovah's Witnesses. And there's probably a couple thousand ex-Jehovah's Witness content creators. Why is he wearing my glasses? The chances of that are like winning the lottery. So, put on your tinfoil hats with me, and let's think about a situation where there's an insider inside of Bethel sending... I don't think that this is an actual conspiracy. I was just pulling your leg. I was having a little bit of a laugh. But no, honestly, I think it is one of the more funny coincidences of this annual meeting. It's just like, what are the actual odds that this guy would have the exact same pair of glasses as me? Now that I've gotten my little ruse out of the way, I did have one tiny little, maybe this is a reason why they made this little tiny snippet, because of just the wording that Jeffrey Windbag was using. So let's just listen to that one more time, and I'll let you know what I'm on about.
The momentum of what Jehovah's organization is doing today? Do you sense the momentum of what Jehovah's organization is doing today?
There's two things. One is when he's talking, I do hear a random metallic sounding clank or some type of sound in the background that seems unnatural. So maybe someone dropped something in the audience and it got him bamboozled, and he slipped up a little bit, and he's like, what Jehovah's organization is doing? But that doesn't seem very plausible, because there's a lot of little oopsies and slip-ups when it comes to these talks. They are not perfectly polished, and they're not editing out every and mistake that the speakers are making. So why, of all of them, choose this one? And I guess maybe he was about to say what Jehovah is doing and wasn't actually giving enough credit and attention to Jehovah's organization. That honestly seems like the only plausible answer that I can think of. Maybe you can think of something else. So let me know down in the comments if you can figure this mystery out for me. But that would be a really strange edit to make. Oh, he was about to say Jehovah, what Jehovah is doing, and he wasn't about to say Jehovah's organization? Oh man, we need to send the editors, whip up Adobe right now. We need to get this cleared out. Now, here's a clear example of if I were editing this talk of something that I would have taken out, because I edit myself talking quite a bit, and I try my best to eliminate the times when I'm saying the exact same thing, the exact same way, with just a few ums and ahs between, because when you say the exact same thing in the exact same way with a few ums and ahs in between, it can sound really awkward for the audience to listen to the exact same thing in the exact same way with a few ums and ahs in between. If you think I'm being funny, just listen to Jeffrey Windbag.
That verse says, all day long I will praise you. I will praise your name forever and ever. In Bethel and theocratic construction assignments, you have the opportunity to serve Jehovah all day, every day, to praise Jehovah, to glorify him with all your strength. So all day of every day of your life, you are engaged in theocratic activities, and that brings contentment and joy as well.
And the crazy thing is, he is trying to appeal to a younger audience to get them excited about serving Jehovah. And he's giving them the most boring prospect ever about what will make you content. Doing the same thing over and over again, and you'll just be happy. That is what the real life is all about. It reminds me of that SpongeBob episode. It's like, you have the entire world. This is a dream, Patrick. And all you're going to do is just sit there? Yep.
You know, Patrick, this is a dream. You can do anything you want.
Yep.
I mean anything. Watch. I can turn into a skyscraper going up. Huh? I can make a million of these. Huh?
Yep.
Tartar sauce.
And that SpongeBob episode was a joke. But this guy's not joking about it. This is what he is holding up as a real life prospect to young people. I just had to include this in here because, man, it is so sad and depressing to hear him say, man, you know what's going to make you happy? This right here. The last thing before we wrap it up here that I wanted to mention is that this annual meeting seemed a little bit more dry. If you are really looking for something interesting to talk about, well, any talk out there, you'll probably find a few little interesting talking points. But this one overall, just from a sort of outside the moon looking at what's going on perspective, seems a bit boring. And I was going back because I know a few people had mentioned in the comments to compare how the clapping actually related to previous annual meetings. And I was going to start the rabbit hole of looking at every single annual meeting that's on the broadcast and finding all the examples of clapping. So maybe we'll save that video for Clapgate Part 2. But I thought it was incredible. I made a 20-minute video about clapping one time. I don't know if the universe can't handle a Part 2 to that type of nonsense. But with all of that being said, I just wanted to show you what some of the jokes were like in this annual meeting, and just compare that to what some of the jokes previously were like.
We see the growth that's taking place in the field. And in other news, there's a new product in the Bethel Commissary, beard butter. Not to be confused with the butter that you spread on your toast. Yes, adjustments to our dress and grooming were also a highlight of the year.
Now, I know there are many gray beards here, but I understand that none of you were present on that occasion. That's reassuring.
And what were we thinking? Well, probably, maybe we didn't say it, but we were thinking, the number will go down, 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 and there'll be just a couple of old guys in a wheelchair who will get their reward. Well, I'm exaggerating, but that was sort of the feeling, wasn't it? But now, what have we seen in recent years? Those numbers have gone up and up. And not only that, younger brothers have been appointed on the governing body. Now, I know what you're all thinking. 2 new ones, how old are they? We know. You're not Googling now, but you will be.
And he's going to deliver the gripping talk, "This is it." I hope I rendered justice to announcing that title, Brother Morris.
I'll talk to you later, huh? I ruined my introduction, but that's all right.
Now, see, these were some of the better laughs that they got out of the audience at this year's annual meeting with making their incessant beard jokes. And just from briefly looking at a couple of the annual meetings to find some clapping screen records, I did come across this of Tony Morris, and he's having a hearty belly laugh. It's like a full 20, 30 seconds of him just laughing, and the audience is laughing with him. And again, I'd have to go back and really look at it, but I guess the feeling of some of those other annual meetings were just a little happier. There was more joy in the air, I guess. People always seem pretty jovial for the annual meeting, but I guess the audience that's sitting there with them seemed to vibe more with it. And it's a really hard thing to quantify. Man, what were the vibes like at this year's annual meeting? But I feel like the vibes were down, which again lends credence to my suspicion that Jehovah's Witnesses are not having fun anymore, that the fun has been dialed down to 0. No one's really happy or satisfied with the choices that have brought them to where they are now. This whole preaching and bandering about the best life ever, well, now as people are getting older into their 40s and 50s and 60s and 70s and 80s, they're like, holy crap, the best life ever, that just took the only life I knew I had. And kind of arms crossed, a little bit of anger happening. So I don't know exactly. It's hard, and it's something that I've been kind of obsessed with lately, is really trying to nail down why Jehovah's Witnesses seem to not be having fun anymore. And I will continue to go on this journey and trying to figure it out, but I think this is another small piece to that puzzle. Anyway, sorry for the bit of a ramble session today, a lot of different ideas, but hey, we're doing a lot of uploads here in December, so sometimes you're gonna get some good ones, sometimes they won't be as good. What are you going to do? But for all 7,000 of you that decided to actually watch this one, I very much appreciate it. Now go take some time for yourself, appreciate yourself, and stay safe, and be kind. And yeah, show yourself that same kindness that you show to others. If you do that, you're going to have a good-ass day. Oh, and I think I actually want to talk about some of those old annual meeting videos, because I saw bits of them that I had never actually seen before, because that was before I did anything on YouTube and after I left the organization. So why in tarnation would I have seen an annual meeting from 2018? Anyway, we'll maybe do that tomorrow or the day next. So I'll see you then.